What if a single, impossible moment, like finding a lost book on a subway, could unravel the hidden threads connecting your mind to the universe? Picture this. A famous actor stumbles into a coincidence so precise it feels scripted, hinting at a reality far stranger than we've ever imagined. These aren't just flukes, they're whispers of a bigger story where your thoughts might shape what happens next. Buckle up, we're about to explore the eerie, thrilling world of synchronicity, and trust me, you won't see life the same way after this. If that sparks your curiosity, hit subscribe on Right Psychology and tap that bell for notifications. More jaw-dropping dives into the mind and beyond are headed your way. The magic of a chance encounter. Let's rewind to 1973, a year when bell bottoms ruled, and Anthony Hopkins, the actor with that unforgettable growl, was gearing up for a new gig. He'd signed on to star in The Girl from Petrovka, a film based on a novel by George Pfeiffer, and this wasn't just another paycheck for him. He was determined to sink his teeth into the role. Rather than coasting on the script alone, Hopkins wanted the real deal, the original book, something he could hold, flip through, and soak in to bring his character to life. So, off he went, traipsing across London, weaving through the city's maze of dusty bookstores with a mission in mind. It wasn't a quick errand. He spent an entire day pounding the pavement, popping into shop after shop, his excitement dimming with every stop. Each bookseller gave him the same grim shrug. "Sorry, mate, it's out of print. No copies anywhere." By the time the sun dipped low, Hopkins was worn out, his hands empty, and his spirits deflated, wondering if he'd ever get his hands on that elusive novel. Ready to call it quits, he hopped on the subway to head home, probably replaying the day's dead ends in his head. That's when the universe tossed him a curveball. As the train screeched to a stop, a rushed passenger darted out, oblivious to the fact they'd left something behind on the seat. A book, just sitting there like it was waiting for someone. Hopkins, ever the curious soul, leaned over, picked it up, and glanced at the cover. His heart must have skipped a beat. It was The Girl from Petrovka, the very thing he'd been chasing all day. Now, if that's not wild enough, hold on, there's more. Months later, with the film wrapped and hitting theaters, Hopkins got the chance to meet George Pfeiffer face to face, over coffee, or maybe a pint. He couldn't resist sharing his subway story, grinning as he described his lucky find. Pfeiffer's face went slack with disbelief. He leaned in and said, "You won't believe this, but I think that was my copy. I lent it to a friend and they lost it on the subway a while back. The odds of that? Astronomical." It's the kind of twist that makes you sit back and wonder what kind of cosmic puppet master is at work here. This isn't just a quirky footnote in Hopkins' career. It's a window into those jaw-dropping moments that sneak into our lives too. You know the ones. You're thinking of an old pal, and they text you out of nowhere, or you're craving a certain dish and your neighbor knocks with leftovers of that exact thing. These aren't throwaway coincidences. They stick with you, stirring up a mix of awe and goosebumps, like the universe is slipping you a note saying, "Hey, I've got something special for you." Hopkins' tale is a perfect kickoff to exploring how these uncanny events weave through our days, hinting at a reality that's way more connected than we usually give it credit for. Synchronicity, when the universe whispers. So what's the deal when life serves up these freaky, perfectly timed surprises? A guy named Carl Gustav Jung, a Swiss psychologist with a knack for diving into the weird and wonderful, gave it a name: synchronicity. He saw these as more than lucky breaks. They're meaningful alignments, moments where two unrelated things click together so precisely that it feels like fate's playing matchmaker. Mean-sun. Jung didn't just slap a label on it and call it a day. He poked around, studying how these events tie our inner world, our thoughts, feelings, dreams, to the stuff happening out there. Think about your own life for a sec. Ever had a random song stuck in your head, only to hear it blaring from a car stereo 5 minutes later? Or maybe you've had a dream about a friend's new job, and the next day they call with the news. Jung's big idea was that these aren't accidents. They're threads in a bigger tapestry, showing how our minds and the universe aren't as separate as we think, linked in ways that laugh at the usual "this causes that" logic. What's so gripping about synchronicity is how it messes with our grip on reality. Albert Einstein, that wild-haired genius, once quipped that reality's just an illusion. A very persistent one, sure, but an illusion all the same. Modern science, like quantum physics, nods along, revealing how our act of looking at something can change what's there, like particles waiting for us to decide their fate. Synchronicities are like real-life proof of that. tiny ruptures where the rules bend, and we glimpse a world that's more like a shared dream than a concrete slab. These moments hit different because they feel personal, almost sacred. They're not just, that's neat. They carry a weight, a whisper of meaning that's just for you, like the universe is leaning in close with a secret. As we roll through this, we're going to unpack 5 flavors of synchronicity you might stumble across, breaking down how to spot them, decode their messages, and ride their waves to sync up with something bigger, your truest self maybe, or the flow of life itself. The 5 faces of synchronicity, warning signs, a cosmic heads up. Sometimes life feels like it's yelling, watch out, right before you're about to leap into something big. That's a warning synchronicity, a cosmic tap on the brakes when you're staring down a fork in the road that could flip your world upside down. Picture reality as a shaky tightrope when the future's fuzzy. These moments swoop in like a gust of wind, pushing you off a path that might lead to a faceplant. Say you're eyeing a house deal that's too good to pass up. Cheap price, great curb appeal, the works. You're halfway out the door to seal it when your car decides it's not in the mood to start, so you hail a cab instead. Traffic snarls thanks to a fender bender up ahead, and by the time you roll up to the bank across from the house, you spot police lights flashing next door. Turns out the neighbors are a hot mess, and passing on the deal saves you from a living nightmare. It's not just bad luck piling up, it's the universe stacking the deck to keep you safe. Think about how those little hiccups, the stalled engine or the crash you witnessed, might have stopped you from signing your peace of mind away. Warning synchronicities are like that buddy who yanks you back from a busy street, steering you clear of a timeline you'd rather not live through. They don't always scream danger. Sometimes they're subtle, like a gut feeling you can't shake. Maybe you're about to text someone sketchy and your phone dies, giving you pause that saves you later. These are reality's way of tossing you a lifeline when the stakes are high. Confirmation. The universe says you've got this. On the flip side, you've got confirmation synchronicities, those warm, fuzzy boosts that show up when you're nailing it. These hit during moments of gutsy change, like chasing a wild dream or shedding baggage that's weighed you down, acting like a glowing signpost that says you're right where you should be. Unlike warnings, they're here to cheer you on, lighting up the path to your best self. Imagine you've been mulling over a passion project forever, something that sets your soul on fire, but also makes your palms sweat with nerves. One day you say, screw it, take the leap, plunk down some cash to kick it off, and step into the unknown with your heart racing. You wander to a park to breathe, lost in thought, when 2 butterflies, bright as a summer day, land on your hands, and a stranger's voice floats over, you've done the right thing. Crystal clear despite the chatter around you. That's the magic of confirmation syncs. They're yours alone, coded just for you. They leave you buzzing, wrapped in a blanket of cosmic support, like the universe is your biggest fan. You walk away thinking, man, this feels meant, and that's exactly what they're for. Proof you're in harmony with your deeper purpose. They don't need to be loud. Sometimes it's a quiet nod, like finding a feather after a tough choice. They're the moments that make you feel tethered to something vast, a quiet yes from life itself. Prophetic vibes, dreams and omens. Then there's prophetic synchronicities, little sneak peeks into what's around the bend, dressed up in symbols or sleepy visions. Ever notice the same number, like your lucky 7, popping up on clocks, receipts, everywhere right before a life twist? Or maybe you dream of a storm, wake up rattled, and dodge a real downpour that day. These are like fortune cookies from the cosmos, hinting at what's next. Cracking their code takes some work. They are not always obvious. You might dream of a friend waving from a train, then hear they're moving away a week later, and you wonder if your mind saw it coming. Jotting these down in a notebook is gold. Over time, you spot the patterns, like how that number 7 ties to big shifts every time. What's freaky is how they blur the edges of dreamland and daylight. They whisper that our consciousness isn't just reacting, it's peeking ahead, stitching together our sleep and our waking hours in a dance we're only half aware of. They can warn or tease, a heads up about trouble or a promise of good stuff. It's like life's dropping breadcrumbs, and the more you tune in, the better you get at following the trail. Manifestation, thoughts, Turning real. Ever had a random thought pop into your head and then, bam, it shows up in real life? That's manifestation synchronicity, where your mind seems to sculpt the world around you. You're reminiscing about a college buddy you haven't seen in ages, and the next day they're standing in line behind you at the coffee shop. Or you're wishing for a new lamp, and your neighbor's tossing one out that's perfect. Here's the head scratcher. Did you predict it, or did you make it happen? Some folks call it the law of attraction. Your subconscious vibes nudging reality to line up with your wishes. Quantum physics throws in a wild twist, suggesting your thoughts today might tweak events from yesterday, setting the stage for that lamp to be there when you need it. Think about it. Someone had to leave that lamp out, maybe days before you even wished for it. It's like your brain's a time traveler, whispering to the past to sync up with your now. These syncs make you feel like a wizard, co-writing the script of your life. They don't always need big wishes. Sometimes it's small, like craving tacos and finding a coupon. It's reality bending to your wavelength, proving you've got more sway than you think. Opportunity knocks. Perfect timing. Lastly, meet opportunity synchronicities. Those golden moments when everything aligns like it's scripted. They're the job offer that lands just as you've polished your resume, or the stranger who fixes your tire when you're stranded, right when you need it most. These feel seamless, like life's handing you a key at the exact second you find the lock. Picture this. You're slogging through a soul-crushing job, secretly sharpening your skills on the side. When a buddy casually mentions an opening, that's your dream gig. You jump on it, ace the interview, and suddenly you're on a path that feels so right, it's almost spooky. Relief washing over you like a cool breeze. That's opportunity syncs in action. Pure frictionless timing. They're not flukes, they're rewards for being ready. Prep meets luck, and bam, you're propelled forward, grinning at how perfectly it all fits. Sometimes they're quiet, an invite to a party where you meet your future mentor. They're destiny's little boosts, showing up when you've earned them, making life feel like a well-timed symphony. Why synchronicity matters. Why should we give a hoot about these quirky blips in our everyday slog? Because synchronicities are like receipts proving reality's not some rigid machine. It's stretchy, alive, and tuned into our heads and hearts. They're your own little miracles, showing you're not just a speck in a cold void, but a player in a world that listens and responds. Science isn't scoffing either. Quantum physics says the observer, that's you, can nudge how things play out, down to the tiniest bits of matter. Synchronicities are that idea breaking free into your life, loud and clear, linking your thoughts to the stuff around you. It's not fluffy nonsense. It's a hint at how tight we're knitted into the universe's fabric. For anyone who's felt them, these moments pack a punch. They spark wonder, a flicker of maybe there's a plan here, turning chaos into something with a pulse. Whether it's a warning to dodge a bullet or a pat on the back for a bold move, they make you feel noticed, like life's got a quiet eye on you. And here's the kicker. They're not rare. They're buzzing around us every day if we just look up from our phones. You've got your own stash, I bet. That time you found $1 when you were broke, or when a stranger's random advice fixed a mess you were in. Synchronicities, an invitation to see the magic stitched into the mundane, a call to lean in and listen. They don't solve everything. They're clues, not answers, but they nudge us to trust there's more at play. A rhythm we can tap into if we're brave enough to hear it, living in sync with the universe. So, how do we hop on this cosmic train? Start by tuning your radar. Keep an eye out for the small, strange overlaps in your routine. That phrase you keep hearing from different folks, or the hawk that circles every time you're stressed. It might be the universe clearing its throat to get your attention. A journal's your best friend here. Grab a cheap notebook and scribble down those, that's odd moments. Note the date, how you felt, what was swirling in your head. Pretty soon, you'll see lines connecting the dots, turning random weirdness into a story that's yours alone. It's not just record keeping, it's detective work, uncovering what these winks mean for you. What if nothing's syncing up lately? Could be you're stuck in a cozy rut where days blur into each other with no ripples, or maybe you're so locked into your inner groove that you don't need the signs anymore. To spark them again, shake the snow globe, try a new cafe, talk to a stranger, let wonder creep back into your bones. Go deeper, sit with your dreams, meditate under the stars, or sift through your instincts to tell the ego's chatter from your soul's quiet voice. The more you lean into that true gut, the more these syncs light up like fireflies, guiding you down a path that's lush and alive. Here's the heart of it. Synchronicity shows we're not just bouncing around a random pinball machine. Our hopes, fears, and steps, they echo out, tangling with a universe that's paying attention. Stay awake to the signals, and you'll glide into decisions that feel right, syncing you with a life that's bold, bright, and unmistakably yours. So here's the kicker. What if every odd coincidence in your life isn't just chance, but a breadcrumb leading you to something massive, like a universe that's alive, listening, and talking back? These synchronicities might be your personal proof that reality bends to your thoughts, hinting at a power you've barely tapped. Next time you catch one, don't brush it off. Pause, wonder, and ask what it's trying to tell you. The line between your mind and the world might be blurrier than you ever dreamed, and that's where the real adventure begins. Loved this dive into the weird and wonderful? Subscribe to Right Psychology and hit that bell. More mind-twisting explorations are coming your way, and you won't want to miss a single one.